But Dan, you mentioned the tensions that we've seen between the U.S. and China. And of course, people don't take this story, in my opinion, I feel like people aren't taking this story as seriously as they should, because TikTok is an app for teens. But TikTok is now squarely in the middle of U.S.-China geopolitical tensions. And Melody, we talked about the story earlier this week, but news just within the last 24 hours, TikTok now looking at moving their headquarters and really trying to separate themselves from their parent company, ByteDance, because TikTok wants to be like a Western consumer name that isn't considered an arm of kind of the Chinese government. But I think that's kind of where things are right now.
And Miles, I guess this is another one of those stories where does the perception, does the public reality actually really influence the way the company operates? And in this case, that's definitely true, right? Where the layman, the average TikTok user, is not aware of that connection, nor do they care, right? And there seems to be that disconnect at large. But I think it's so fascinating to see the lawmakers and a lot of the folks who are bringing this to light, of course, in response to Pompeo's comments last week or earlier this week, saying that they will seriously look into making it basically illegal for folks to have the TikTok app on their phones. I do imagine, normally I'm headquartered in Los Angeles myself, and passing by their building, I had seen it continuing to expand in size just based on construction prior to the COVID period. To be honest, I haven't passed by their building right a stone's throw away from our Playa Vista office, but I do know for sure that they have been aggressively hiring in that LA location as well as their New York City office. So I have no doubt that this will be a continued investment into their branding and their imagery.
Yeah, I think, the branding has been underway for a long time. Hiring Kevin Mayer away from Disney is probably the key part of the branding effort, the branding overhaul that TikTok is trying to undertake right now. But I think just the interplay here between, all the different kind of facets of this, when you've got the trade war. Remember the Huawei thing was, 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago. And it feels, Dan Roberts, like it's all kind of like alphabet souped into one big US-China story. And every day there's maybe a different way that you can slice it. But there's ultimately kind of too many moving parts, I think, to just say, here's the deal, right?
Yes, and I have to say that, we were debating yesterday, you and I, whether it was really worth and fair putting stock into Pompeo saying, we're looking into it in terms of banning TikTok. And yet now by responding and saying, oh my goodness, but now by responding and saying, we are going to consider changing up the management structure, to me, the company has now legitimized the concern and legitimized the story. I mean, again, I sort of thought that, you take Pompeo saying we're looking into it as not meaning much. He was asked about it. He said, sure, we're looking into it. And Melody was touching on the fact that the US government probably doesn't have the understanding or wherewithal to even address it and to even really understand how the app works and to then ban it. And yet now by responding, oh, we're considering changes, that sort of legitimizes the idea that the company should be concerned and that US users should be concerned. Oh boy. And I will also say changing the management structure, that's not going to change the fact that it's Chinese owned. I mean, when you get down to the facts, right, it's either Chinese owned or it's not. So they can have more US based executives. They can beef up the US presence in the US office. But if a Chinese company owns the app, it's Chinese owned. So, trying to address the concern by doing anything other than spinning out the app is kind of silly. Oh.
Also, a quick thing here. I think we're going to roll this video, but it is, for those of you who are wondering at home, yep, it's going. That is Dan Roberts and his wife, Claire, who are doing the popular Renegade dance, for all those who are curious. And one quick note, Dan, I mean, even thinking about last year and over the last couple of years during the entire Trump presidency, let's remember Mike Pence was on that offensive tour, right, throughout the countries of Europe, saying, hey, if you go with Huawei, you will be our enemy. You have to utilize the US infrastructure when it comes to 5G, when it comes to actual bringing on new innovative players, stick with the US, otherwise there will be repercussions. We remember that a lot of those individual European European countries said, you know what, we're still going to be working with Huawei for the most part. So that's great. Thank you for this warning, and we'll heed your advice. I think TikTok we're seeing a similar sort of situation, but to your point, Dan, a lot of lawmakers still don't even understand Facebook's business model, right? Never mind the way that TikTok works or what it actually is. So I do feel like there's a lot of catch up here. There are definitely a few individuals in DC who have made this a huge sticking point for them. But I think by and large, there are a lot of other issues on the table that they're worrying about.
Maybe lawmakers just need to do some TikToks, and then they'll understand, like Dan Roberts. Exactly.
I mean, the Savage Dance is pretty easy to learn, you guys.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. This is like peak quarantine energy, right? When we're all excited to pick up new things. Now it's
this is the Tiger King era energy. You know,
it does feel
a little bit of
yeah.
It was an eternity ago that you were motivated to spend your time on a Saturday doing a TikTok.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.